talking to you about beginner basketball. What we want to talk about now is the pivot foot. The pivot foot is the foot that you last establish as your pivoting foot. For example, if I'm dribbling down the court and I pick up my dribble like this, well, if I pick up my dribble while both of my feet are planted and not moving like this, you can have a choice of which foot you want to remain as your pivot foot or your base foot, which means you can step around. If I decide to make it my right foot, you can step around all the way in a circle, pivoting. So you can come here, you can come back, you can step out, but you always have to keep that foot planted, whether you choose your pivot foot as your right foot or your left foot. Also, what you want to be careful of, and they'll call you for if you're in an officiated game, is a travel. And what that means is your pivot foot has to stay planted on the ground. If you drag it just a little bit, that's a traveling. You'll get called for a traveling violation. So when you establish your pivot foot and you stop, it's the foot that you decide is gonna be your base foot. Okay, so you can pivot around whether you want it to be your left or your right. It's the last foot. Let me show you instead of telling you. So we're running down and I stop. Well, I used my left foot to plant first while my right foot was still moving, so I can't decide to make my right foot the pivot foot. It has to be that foot that was planted. And then you can move around however you want. Okay? And that's the pivot foot.